Hi there, it's Trisha, and as you may remember, I'm not in town and I did not trade on Thursday or Friday, but I did want to show you a couple things that I noticed on Friday, the 20th, things that I talk about all the time, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to go over that. So you can go to www.easyemintrade.com and check out the two setups that I use, higher odds trades, but we definitely do not take a lot of trades, and that is a conservative way to trade, and that's just how I choose to trade. So what I wanted to point out is, as I've mentioned over and over again, I always put the high, low, and close from the previous day on my longer tick chart, and you can put it on any chart that you like. I did draw it on my smaller tick chart as well, so I can show you that too. But at 10:05 we had a scalp trade setting up, and we have price going sideways, indicator going higher, so that's divergence. We have our scalp indicator firing off its blue dot. We have our trend indicator above 20, and we are above one of the moving averages. We're above on our longer tick chart, but we're not above both of them. So this is usually what I always say, is that it's up to you how much distance you require in between the two moving averages to take a trade. I personally like to see 6 or 8 points in between the two moving averages in order to make it worth my while. So anyway, you could have taken this trade, and this is exactly why I say you have to know, what is worth your while. So if you took this trade, let's just say that you got in over here where it fired off somewhere, and you filled with a market order, you would have got filled at 770.50 or 770.75, somewhere in that vicinity. So if you take where you got in at up to the low from the previous day, this is 775. So that is a difference of 450. So you have to know, okay, realistically, it's going to get close to that low from the previous day, and we're going to have a pullback. Usually what I do, if there is enough room, this would not have been enough room for me, because 4.5 points is not enough for me to take the trade. And the reason why is, when I do something like that, what I say to myself is, okay, all I can expect is half of that move. So if from where I got in here to the low from the previous day is 450, the most I'm going to expect is 2.25. So what I would do if I was taking something where something was right above my head, I would put my limit order in for half of that difference. So if I was entering this trade, which I would not because it's not enough room for me, but I would enter and put a limit order in for a gain of 2.25 and then get out right away. If you got in this trade, the most that you would have got, even if you didn't get out the way that I'm saying, is 350. So you have to ask yourself the risk reward question, using this half. So using half is 2.25, and your stop starts out at 2 points. That's really not a good risk reward to get into something risking 2 to just make 2.25. So that's what I always am talking about when I say there has to be enough distance in between where you're heading, which would be up here at the low from the day before, or the moving average over here, which is right around that same vicinity. And you can see what happened. Came almost up to the low from the day before, and then we got a pullback. So that's why I say, if those things are right above your head, you have to have enough room in order to make it worth your while. In this case, that would not have been worth my while for a gain of 2.25. But I did want to point that out because it was a perfect example. This was another example, like I was just talking about. This was at 2:22 in the afternoon, and you had a scalp long setting up. So we have price going sideways. Change that to that. We have price going sideways, indicator moving higher. Our trend indicator is above 20. Right where this red arrow is the bar that we're setting up on. So we're above both moving averages. So, that's looking good. Then you see right above you, you have the low from the day before. And you can see it on this chart as well. So this is a little bit better because we're getting our scalp set up over here on this bar. So let's say that you got filled on one of these bars over here. You would have got filled, let's say at 767.75 approximately, give or take a quarter. So if you look at that, Then you see the low from the day before is right above you, and that's at 775. Well, now, that's worth my while. That's a difference of 7.25. So like I said before, if you look at that 7.25 difference between where you got in and where the low from the day before is, that's 7.25, so half of that is 375. So what I would do if I was taking this trade and trading yesterday, I would get in, and then I would put a limit order in right off the bat for 3.75, so 375. So I would get in at 767.75, and as soon as I got my 375, I would be out. Now, realistically, let's just see what you could have got if you would have stayed in here. The high there is, let's just see. So the high up there is 774. So 774 is the high as it got. So realistically, you could have got out at 773.75. Would have been the highest that you would have gotten out of that trade. So that still would have been a nice trade, but you don't know where it's going to go from that point. So as you can see, it actually did get up to the low from the day before and then pull back, and then you got through it, and then you got to the close from the day before and then back down again. So that's why I say those are pretty important reference points to have on your chart, because usually that's exactly what happens. You get to that point and it pulls back, gets to that point and pulls back. So anyway, that's just a really important lesson, and I hope that helps in what I've been talking about and gives you a little bit better understanding of that. So anyway, you can go to www.easyemintrade.com and check out the setups. I should be back in action trading on Monday, I hope. I should be back in town by then. And I will try to do a video for Thursday as well. And I hope everyone has a great weekend.